Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are going to peel back the curtain on something we all experience literally every single day, but we rarely ever stop to actually notice. We're going to decode the absolutely fascinating way our modern, everyday lives are actually being secretly governed by our wild, evolutionary past. Because you might wear a suit to work or carry around a fancy smartphone, but deep down, biology is still running the whole show.
Have you ever noticed how a crowded room will just instinctively part for someone who's walking with intense, dominant posture, even if they never say a single word? Or, okay, let's bring it even closer to home. You walk into the office and you feel this deep, almost inexplicable surge of annoyance simply because a coworker is sitting in your unassigned seat. It drives you crazy, right? But why? Why does a totally normal chair with no name on it cause such a visceral reaction?
Okay, let's dive into this. We have a fundamental clash in how we view ourselves. We really like to think of ourselves as these highly advanced, perfectly logical beings who have entirely outgrown our wild roots. But psychology and evolutionary biology, well, they reveal a completely different reality. Much of our modern social hierarchy and our daily behavior is still heavily driven by primal, animalistic instincts. So today, we're going to decode exactly how these ancient instincts still quietly dictate our lives.
Section 1. Defending your territory. The coffee shop.
Let's start with how we handle physical space. And let's ground this in a real-world scenario. Imagine arriving at a busy local coffee shop. You finally spot an empty table, and you likely follow a very specific, meticulous procedure. Step 1, you drape your jacket over the back of the chair. Step 2, you center your laptop perfectly on the table. Step 3, you arrange your coffee cup just right. It feels like a polite way to say, hey, I'm sitting here, right? But it goes much deeper than just modern politeness.
In the animal kingdom, this exact behavior is known as scent marking and territorial defense. By placing your items down, you're creating these invisible boundaries to signal to the rest of the tribe that this space is officially claimed. Your jacket, your laptop, your coffee cup, they are the modern human equivalents of an animal marking its territory out in the wild.
And your physiological response totally proves it. Just think about what happens when a stranger invades that little bubble you've created, or, worse, moves your jacket to take a chair. Your heart rate actually spikes. You feel a sudden surge of defensive anger. You see, you aren't just being irritable. Your primal brain is genuinely perceiving this as a direct threat to your resources. It is a literal biological stress response, just playing out over a latte.
Section 2. The hierarchy of posture. Silent power.
So, moving beyond physical territory, let's talk about social territory. Whenever you enter a room, your brain instantly starts scanning to establish a social hierarchy. And the crazy thing is, you almost never need to use a single word to figure out who holds the power. When an animal wants to establish dominance, it makes itself appear physically larger. And humans? We do exactly the same thing. We take up space. We stand with our feet planted wide, or lean comfortably back with our arms spread out. Conversely, when we feel intimidated, we physically shrink. We cross our arms. We hunch our shoulders.
So the crucial point is this. When you find yourself crossing your arms at a networking event or, say, in a really tense meeting, you might just think you're feeling a little socially awkward. But in reality, your body is actually running an ancient survival script. By hunching over and crossing your arms, you are subconsciously protecting your vital organs to signal submission and avoid conflict. Your body is basically just trying to keep you physically safe.
Section 3. Smiling as submission. The primate grin.
Now, let's look at another highly instinctual reaction, one that happens when we feel threatened or deeply uncomfortable. Picture a forced interaction with someone you really just don't like, maybe an aggressive stranger on the street, or a notoriously difficult boss. Why do we flash that tight, forced, closed-lipped smile in those moments? We're conditioned to assume that a smile always equals happiness or friendliness. But lean into the discomfort of that specific facial expression for a second. That tight, tense smile doesn't really feel happy, does it? And this brilliantly illustrates why. In the primate world, baring your teeth is very often a sign of submission or a warning to back off. It is rarely a sign of joy. When you give that tight smile to a difficult boss, you are subconsciously mirroring this exact primate behavior. You are trying to appease a potential threat and keep the peace, all without showing any true vulnerability. It's an ingrained biological defense mechanism.
Section 4. The pack mentality. Deep social synchronization.
For our final core concept, we have to look at the pack mentality. Remember, at our core, we are deeply social creatures. Thousands of years ago, your survival depended entirely on one thing: not getting separated from the group. A lone human was, well, a vulnerable human. And because of that ancient reliance on the pack, certain actions become incredibly contagious. Yawning, laughing, clearing your throat. They happen in rapid succession. You hear someone clear their throat in a totally quiet room, and suddenly you feel the overwhelming urge to do it too. You see someone yawn, you yawn.
But why? Because it sends a silent signal, hey, I am part of the tribe. When you mirror the physical actions of the people around you, you are silently proving to the group that you are aligned with their energy. It's a subconscious synchronization. It tells the pack that you're in sync, and therefore you are safe to keep around. Your brain still desperately craves the safety of that pack.
Section 5. The Modern Animal. Echoes of the Past.
So, let's synthesize all of this. From the coffee shop table to the awkward office smile to a contagious yawn, these seemingly mundane, everyday routines are actually direct links to our ultimate goals of primal survival and resource protection. The ultimate takeaway is this: you aren't losing your mind. You're simply experiencing the quiet echoes of your evolutionary past. So the next time you feel an irrational urge to defend your favorite chair or realize you're shrinking your posture around an intimidating person, don't feel strange about it. It is perfectly natural biological programming.
Which brings us to our final thought. So, what other normal things do you do that are actually wild instincts in disguise? Start looking at your daily routines through this new primal lens. You might be genuinely surprised by what you find. If you love understanding why people think and behave the way they do, make sure to hit that subscribe button right now. Because in these explainers, we don't just scroll through people's lives, we decode their minds. Keep observing, and I'll see you next time.